but clearly some of them are challenged. And they're challenged because of the products that made them successful. But, you know, a lot of people blame television for having people being couch potatoes. So the trick is for us to give people information that is additive to their health and wellness, makes them aware of what they need to do and take personal responsibility for to enhance their health and wellness.
Yeah, I was curious, what's NBC Universal doing in the area of green in terms of like the environment or energy efficiency, energy production, and that sort of thing? You mentioned a lot of the health issues that you're...
Yep, there is somebody who is the vice president at NBC of Green is Universal, and her job is to make sure that, I always get this phrase wrong, but we don't just talk the talk and we walk the walk. So she is greening our sets, greening our our food service, both in Burbank and in New York, which are our major centers, and trying to make and reduce NBC Universal's carbon footprint. So there is some, because you can't, one of the things you can't do is you can't tell everybody else what to do if you're not doing it yourself. So there is a position called Vice President of Green is Universal, and her job is largely internal to go around the company looking at opportunities to do all the right things in the operations that we run ourselves.
What about in terms of programming or with your properties? You know, you mentioned a lot of the things that are focused on healthcare, like The Biggest Loser. What do you have
Green? Well, in news, we have Ann Thompson, who is basically does the environmental beat, and we're doing more of that. Green is not on as every day as health and wellness is. And we're working on trying to figure out how to send that message as well. But we're trying to clean up our own house, frankly, and we're trying to figure out what the opportunities are. And you'll see Ann doing that. That's her beat.
I had a question about the Healthy Imaginations. Mm-hmm. You had talked about a 15% reduction, 15% consumer access, and I think the last part was 15% outcomes.
Right.
Yeah, and
that's GE's commitment globally.
Okay, so is there a timeline for that?
I think it's 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, and our role, frankly, is to do what we've always done, but maybe be a little more conscious of it. At some point in time, maybe to specifically tackle some specific health and wellness issues, the way we've done a week on Green is Universal. You will see a heart health series on the Today Show in October. You see that we're doing it already. We're just more conscious of it. And what we're trying to do is from a business development point of view, we're trying to partner with customers who we never really thought may have a strategically driven interest in being associated with that content, because they're doing the same thing in their own business with either new product introductions or reformulating existing products and trying to bring all that together. So from a BD point of view, I have a vice president of health and wellness that reports into me and into GE. And what we do is we call up VPs of innovation at companies as opposed to media people to try and find out what it is they're trying to do in the company. If we sense, because one of the things in doing something with customers, it's very important. To do it really successfully, you need a champion on the customer side, or else it's pretty tough to get something done. I mean, every relationship is two ways, right? And so what we're trying to seek out, or as I said in my talk, are relationships that we might not have had previously in different parts of companies that may not have an immediate return, but so that, one of the things you have to be, for those of you who are in sales in the room, we have a tendency in sales to be very focused on ourselves, very focused on what's going on with our ratings, our programming. And the real opportunities I've learned over doing this over decades is to be focused on what's going on outside your building. Because those are the opportunities that maybe no one else has figured out yet, that no one else has figured out how to monetize, where you can really do something for a customer. Because at the end of the day, it's all about the customer, and we have several. We have the advertiser, we have the viewer. So if it's value for the viewer and value for the advertiser, that makes for a good business. And as our business, the media business, is challenged, the traditional media business is challenged, we have to figure out new ways of doing business and maybe some new people to talk to. And that's what my group has tried to do over the last several years, to understand what we have that could be the solution to somebody's business challenge, and they may not know that we could help them. Our job is to find them.
Speaking of that, help, new ways, opportunity, and that you're in the strategic partnership group, I know we all look for strategic partnerships, especially now, and I work for a nonprofit for a college.
Yep.
So oftentimes we try to link or synchronize with other nonprofits in order to partner strategically for advertising, for media, and we're limited in terms of doing something with television because we don't have the budget for it. But I'm curious if you ever do partner with nonprofits and what wisdom you can bestow on someone who wanted to do something innovative like that for a nonprofit, a school, to partner in a sense in order to advertise with something like television or digital media. What might be some ways to break into that?
Well, on the national level, we have one franchise. It's called The More You Know, and it's been around for many years. And this year, we're actually aiming The More You Know at health and wellness. And it's we don't run random public service announcements. Our stations do. And so the way to partner with, it's largely local, frankly, so in Cleveland, is to get to know the community relations director of the station. And to get the look, the job of a station, as somebody who spent the majority of my career in the station business, the job of a station is to provide value in a community. I mean, that's the basis on which the license is issued. And so, in many cases, stations have an interest in whether it's hunger or, in New York, it's Share Our Strength. WNBC sponsors, is a media sponsor, gives some on-air promotion, uses talent. And I think the key to nonprofits who can't advertise, because some do. I mean, the American Cancer Society advertises because they want to be where they want to be, is to get together with your local media assets around an event and get them to be a media sponsor, some signage, some mention on the website, online. But I think it's a relationship not with the sales department, but with the community, because every media asset of any scale has somebody like that, because it's part of the franchise of the license to be involved in the community, and I would assume you're doing some of that already. Thank you. Get out of your way.
Well, the same things we forgot to print out had the acknowledgments at the end. So thank you, Jay, very much for coming in from New York and spending time with us today. Thank you again to Jim and the City Club. Thanks to all of our partners in PRSA and IABC and the Press Club of Cleveland. And have a good afternoon. And I guess I get to ring this again. Thanks.